If you are over 55 and you wake up feeling like your brain never fully restarted, foggy, slow, like you need an hour just to feel like yourself again, I need you to hear this before you chalk it up to age. Because what I'm about to describe is not a symptom of getting older. It is a biological process that happens inside your brain every single night. And in most adults over 55, it is failing. Quietly, without a single warning sign your doctor is currently checking for. The system I'm talking about was only discovered in 2013. It has a name most people have never heard. And the 2024 research now tells us that when it breaks down, and it does break down measurably after 55, it doesn't just affect how you feel in the morning. It affects your risk for Alzheimer's, for Parkinson's, for every major neurodegenerative disease science has studied. And the four things that either protect it or destroy it are almost certainly part of your daily routine right now. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand your brain in a way most physicians never explain to you. Hi, I'm an emergency medicine physician, and for years, the brain cases that stayed with me weren't the dramatic ones. They were the patients in their 60 seconds and 70 seconds sitting across from me, describing a slow fade, a gradual dimming, a version of themselves they didn't recognize anymore, and the question they all asked was the same. Why didn't anyone tell me sooner? This video is my attempt to answer that, not after the damage is done. Right now, while the system is still working, and while you still have... Here's exactly what we're covering today: what the glymphatic system is, and why neuroscientists are calling it the most important discovery in brain science in decades. What happens to it after 55, and why the decline is measurable, specific, and in many cases reversible. The 4 daily habits that are silently degrading the system in most adults right now, and the 5 evidence-backed interventions that clinical research shows can restore glymphatic function, starting tonight. One quick thing before we dive in. If you've been watching these videos and haven't subscribed yet, check right now. Every week I go through primary research so you don't have to. That information only reaches you if you're subscribed. Now, let's get into your brain. The biology. The brain's cleaning crew. I want to start with an analogy, because once you see this, you cannot unsee it. Imagine your brain as a city, a massive, complex, extraordinarily active city, running 24 hours a day, generating enormous amounts of metabolic waste just from the normal work of thinking, processing, and keeping you alive. Now, every city needs a sanitation system, garbage collection, waste disposal, a way to take what's been used and remove it before it accumulates and starts causing damage. For decades, neuroscientists believed the brain had no such system, that it was the one organ in the body that somehow managed its waste differently. They were wrong. In 2013, a researcher named Dr. Nedergaard at the University of Rochester made a discovery that fundamentally changed neuroscience. She found that the brain has its own dedicated waste clearance system. It runs almost exclusively during sleep. It uses cerebrospinal fluid, pumped through channels surrounding your blood vessels, to physically flush metabolic waste out of brain tissue and into the body's lymphatic system for disposal. She called it the glymphatic system, and here's what that waste includes: beta-amyloid, tau protein, the exact toxic compounds that accumulate in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. Your brain produces these compounds every day as a normal byproduct of neural activity. In a healthy, functioning glymphatic system, they get cleared every night while you sleep. In a failing one, they accumulate, not dramatically, not all at once, slowly, incrementally, over years, until one day the accumulation reaches a threshold and the symptoms begin. This is not a metaphor. This is the documented mechanism behind neurodegeneration, and here's what the research tells us happens to the system after 55. What happens after 55? Glymphatic function does not decline uniformly with age. It declines in a pattern, and understanding that pattern is what makes intervention possible. The first change is sleep architecture disruption. The glymphatic system does the majority of its work during slow-wave sleep, the deepest stage of your sleep cycle. After 55, slow-wave sleep decreases significantly in most adults. Less deep sleep means fewer hours of active glymphatic clearance. Waste accumulates faster than it's removed. The second change is aquaporin 4 reduction. This is the water channel protein that lines the glymphatic pathways and facilitates fluid movement through brain tissue. A 2019 study in Nature Aging documented a measurable decrease in aquaporin 4 expression in aging brain tissue. directly reducing the efficiency of waste clearance even during the sleep that does occur. The third change is vascular stiffening. The glymphatic system depends on the pulsation of blood vessels to drive cerebrospinal fluid through the brain. As arteries stiffen with age, a process directly worsened by high blood pressure, blood sugar dysregulation, and chronic inflammation, that pulsatile drive weakens and fluid movement slows. Three simultaneous changes, all measurable, all documented, all beginning in earnest in the decade after 55. And here's the critical point. None of these changes are inevitable in the way genetics is inevitable. Every single one of them is influenced quite significantly by daily behaviors most people don't connect to brain health at all. The 4 daily habits destroying your glymphatic system. Let me give you the 4 most common glymphatic disruptors I see in the research, and the honest reason why nobody warned you about them. Habit 1, sleeping on your back. This is the one that surprises people most. A 2019 study published in the Journal of Neuroscience found that the lateral sleeping position, on your side, produces significantly greater glymphatic clearance than sleeping on your back or stomach. The geometry of the glymphatic channels means side sleeping optimizes fluid drainage. Back sleeping reduces it. If you've spent decades as a back sleeper, this single change has direct documented neurological consequences. Habit 2, alcohol, even moderate amounts. I know this is not what anyone wants to hear, but a 2020 study in Scientific Reports confirmed that even low to moderate alcohol consumption measurably reduces glymphatic transport efficiency. Alcohol suppresses slow-wave sleep, which is when the system does its primary work. The dose-response relationship is linear. Less alcohol, more clearance. There is no established safe amount when it comes to glymphatic function specifically. Habit 3, eating within 2 hours of sleep. Late meals elevate blood glucose and trigger insulin release before bed. Elevated insulin disrupts the autonomic nervous system, signaling that coordinates glymphatic activity during early sleep stages. Research from the American Journal of Physiology links postprandial glucose spikes in the pre-sleep window directly to reduce slow-wave sleep depth, and therefore reduced glymphatic output. Habit 4, chronic low-grade dehydration. Cerebrospinal fluid is water. Glymphatic flow is water movement. A 2021 review in Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience identified chronic mild dehydration, the kind that never feels like thirst, just a persistent 1 to 2% fluid deficit, as a significant suppressor of glymphatic flow velocity. Most adults over 55 are chronically mildly dehydrated, not dramatically, just enough to slow the system down every single night. The 5 interventions. Now here is what the research supports for restoring and protecting glymphatic function. These are not speculative. Each one has a documented mechanism. Intervention 1. Side sleeping, specifically left lateral. Start tonight. If you're not a natural side sleeper, use a body pillow behind your back to prevent rolling. The left lateral position is specifically associated in the literature with reduced amyloid burden and better glymphatic drainage geometry. Give yourself 2 to 3 weeks to adapt. The adjustment period is real. The benefit is worth it. Intervention 2. Omega-3 fatty acids, 2 to 3 grams, EPA/DHA daily. A 2021 study in FASEB Journal demonstrated that omega-3 fatty acids directly upregulate aquaporin 4 expression, the water channel protein that declines with age and is essential for glymphatic flow. Wild-caught salmon 3 times per week, plus a high-quality fish oil supplement covering the gap, is the most evidence-backed approach. Vegetarians, algae-based DHA is the clinically validated alternative. Intervention 3. Exercise. Specifically, morning, not evening. Aerobic exercise increases glymphatic flow through 2 mechanisms. It reduces arterial stiffness, improving the vascular pulsation that drives cerebrospinal fluid movement, and it increases slow-wave sleep depth the following night. The timing matters. Evening exercise, within 3 hours of bed, elevates core temperature and delays sleep onset, reducing slow-wave sleep. Morning or early afternoon exercise delivers the benefit without the sleep cost. Target 30 minutes of moderate aerobic activity 5 days per week. Intervention 4. Targeted hydration protocol. Not just drinking more water, drinking it strategically, 500 milliliters upon waking, before coffee, before food, to restore overnight fluid deficit. Consistent intake through midday. Tapering after 6 p.m. to reduce nighttime waking. The goal is consistent cellular hydration throughout the day so your cerebrospinal fluid volume is optimal when the glymphatic system activates at night. Intervention 5. Magnesium glycinate, 300 to 400 milligrams before bed. Magnesium is the most consistently documented nutritional intervention for slow-wave sleep depth in adults over 50. A 2022 meta-analysis in Nutrients confirmed that magnesium supplementation significantly increases time spent in deep sleep, directly extending the window of peak glymphatic activity. The glycinate form is used specifically because it is the most bioavailable and least likely to cause gastrointestinal side effects. Take it 30 to 60 minutes before sleep. Mistakes section. 3 mistakes I want you to avoid, because none of them are obvious and all of them matter. Mistake 1. Prioritizing sleep duration over sleep quality. 8 hours of light, fragmented sleep produces far less glymphatic clearance than 6 hours of deep, consolidated sleep. Most adults over 55 who complain of fatigue despite getting enough sleep are not getting enough deep sleep. Duration is not the metric. Architecture is. A wearable device that tracks sleep stages, not just total hours, gives you actual data to work with. Mistake 2. Treating these interventions as optional add-ons. The glymphatic research is not suggesting these changes are nice to have. It is documenting a mechanism of neurodegeneration that is accumulating in your brain right now if the system is impaired. These interventions are not wellness habits. They are neuroprotective behaviors with a documented evidence base. Mistake 3. Waiting for symptoms. By the time cognitive symptoms appear, amyloid accumulation has typically been progressing for 15 to 20 years. The time to support this system is before you notice anything wrong. The adults who maintain cognitive sharpness into their 70 seconds and 80 seconds are not lucky. They are, in most cases, people whose glymphatic systems have been supported, like intentionally or incidentally, for decades. I want to end with this. Your brain is not passively deteriorating. It is running a sophisticated biological cleaning operation every single night, working to protect itself, to clear the debris of daily life, to preserve the sharpness and clarity that makes you you. What the science now gives us is a clear picture of what that system needs to do its job. Sleep on your side. Protect your deep sleep. Move your body. Stay hydrated. Give your brain the omega-3s and magnesium it needs to keep the channels open. These are not complicated interventions. They are not expensive. They do not require a prescription. They require knowing what is actually happening inside your brain at night and deciding that it is worth protecting. You have that knowledge now. Use it starting tonight. Let's bring it all together. The glymphatic system is your brain's overnight waste clearance system, discovered in 2013 and now recognized as central to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's prevention. It clears beta-amyloid and tau protein, the toxic compounds that accumulate in neurodegenerative disease during deep sleep. After 55, 3 simultaneous changes reduce its efficiency: less slow-wave sleep, reduced aquaporin 4 expression, and vascular stiffening, the 4 daily habits most damaging to the system: backsleeping, alcohol consumption, eating close to bedtime, and chronic mild dehydration. The 5 evidence-backed interventions: left lateral sleeping, omega-3 fatty acids at 2 to 3 grams daily, morning aerobic exercise, strategic hydration, and magnesium glycinate 300 to 400 milligrams before bed. If this gave you something your doctor hasn't, share it with someone who needs it. Subscribe if you haven't. And drop in the comments, which of the 4 disruptors surprised you most? I read every one. I'll see you in the next one.